Hello, everyone, and welcome. It is such a pleasure to be with you today. Welcome to the BAG show, and I am your host, Luana Parker. Our show is for authors, wannabe authors, and I'm working on being an author. And someday I am going to write that book, author. If you want to be part of the show or want to appear on the show, you can contact me at 916-698-0839 or email me at lwrepark@gmail.com. Would love to hear from you. My guest today is a very good friend of mine. Her name is Christina Boggs, and she has she's just an outstanding massage therapist. That's all I can say. If you haven't had a massage before, or even if you had one before, you need to go and see Christina because she is absolutely fabulous. And she has written her first book. So we're really excited about that. Help me to welcome none other than my friend Christina Boggs. So, Christina, how does it feel to have written and published your very first book?
Well, I'm really excited about that, Luana. I am in the works of getting it taken care of as far as any editing goes and getting it prepared for print. So it's really not ready right now, but I'm so excited about it and happy to share.
Okay, then my miss, I thought you had already printed it, so apologize for that, but it's soon to be printed. Great.
But I have uploaded it to Kindle. I'm working with a mentor, and I made a few of those mistakes that new authors often do. So we're working on fixing that right now so that I can eventually teach classes and get the word out how to help people.
Isn't it great that you can do that? You can actually, when you post something to Kindle, you can go in there and make the corrections without having to pull it and redo the whole thing to get it correct again.
Yes, and I'm really excited about that because I was a little bit impatient and put it out there a little bit premature, but I'm excited to make the changes and go through the learning curve process, which is
All right.
always
Well,
fun.
that's how we learn. That's how we learn and become better at what we do.
That's right.
So tell us a little bit of what the book is about.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and take off my hat. I'm dressed up nice because you always show up so well. So thank you
Oh,
for this opportunity.
well, make yourself comfortable.
Thank you. Today happened because of divine timing. So here we are. I'm really excited to share. And your question was again, now that I'm so nervous?
What is your book about? Give us a hint or, something that we can look forward to when you complete it and we can go over to Amazon and purchase it.
Okay. While I was working with clients that were on hospice, I kept feeling this calling to share this work. And I knew I couldn't be everywhere. My clients are with family members and friends, and there's just so much more we can do. So I felt the calling to share that information, to teach people, to really, I guess, put it in a book so that I could put it in the hands of those who may not be able to attend. It's really a book that is for further enlightenment on a path to a hands-on technique for enlightenment for comfort care, basically. So it's encompassing a lot of different techniques that I learned in school, Eastern and Western medicine, and how could I simplify that and encourage each person to do their research and find out what is important to them and their specific desire to help.
Wow. Well, sounds like an awful lot of work to me. I leave it to you professionals. Let you can just give me the massage. I'll take in the benefits of what you've learned and process.
Absolutely. You should see a professional many times. And part of that for me was that I realized the wealth of knowledge that my training actually gave me. I earned my associate's degree in applied science for therapeutic massage. I learned way more than I ever learned about the mind, body, and spirit soul connection in massage therapy training over my CNA, MA, and in-home health training all together. I had a client who never slept in her own bed, never took a bath in her own bath for 17 years in her senior setting. She sat in her recliner. I didn't want to get too emotional, but I was determined to change that. So the calling I had in my 20s to do therapeutic massage, the industry wasn't ready for me and it wasn't as medically focused. I found my way back after many years of healthcare and then retail management to helping people. And now I have 10 years experience, 1,240 hours of specialized therapeutic massage training. And I just really wanted more people to know, because not every massage therapist is trained in what I was trained in, nor are your friends and family members.
So this woman who for 17 years was unable to take a bath, or were you able to help her?
Yes, it's an interesting story, but I gave her a bath in her own bath. I put her in her own bed. She couldn't put the arm rail down. So all these things we learned along the way that were things that were hindering her from feeling safe and secure. I promised her I'd be back in the morning, and I could tell you, looking at the stars when I left her house that night, I knew this is what I wanted to do.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's an amazing
Check.
story, you know. So, ooh, just imagine having that type of, I don't want to say power, but I guess that's what it is, that you were able to help her. Um, so she no longer has that problem, I take it.
Right, we start limiting ourselves. One of the
Mhm.
things I learned about eating good foods opened my mind in a different way also. When Alice Waters said, how can you take this food and make it the star of the plate? And then I know that's not exactly related, but it made me start looking at, okay, I like zucchini, but I don't really enjoy it. So how can I make it something that I love to eat? And those types of things. So what they also said in this program I watched was, when we start limiting ourselves, even with food, we limit ourselves in so many other ways that we close out the opportunities.
Mhm. Well, that's true. That's one of the problems that so many of us have experienced in life. I think that's great. So tell me, was it difficult to write this book?
Yes, I wouldn't say I was always the best student. In fact, I went to 6 different schools in the third grade alone because we were moving and there was just a lot going on. So to discipline myself in this learning curve is huge.
Mhm.
So I started it small, and I decided just write it out like a journal. I loved writing journals when I was a kid. I loved that I could just write whatever I wanted and I could get a good grade on it. And it could be judged in a different way than the structured curriculum was. So when I read, I find that I'm drawn to books where I'm educated. So it's not always easy to read the books, but that's the information that I want. So I started breaking it down into what was important. And then all of these different things started sparking in my mind. And I drew it out like a graph. I guess you would when you're a kid and you write all these bullet points or things you want. And then you start honing it in and fine tuning what is really necessary here. And
Mhm.
you and a colleague of mine that's a friend and a client and my mother, people that I trust and care about, and the lady who's mentoring me, Sharon Darrow, to read it. And then I looked at it with fresh eyes in the morning when I'm clear, and I just kept taking it one step at a time. And
Mhm.
then I presented it. And once I had it in the PDF, I said, oh, I'm putting it out because I just didn't know what it took. And so many think, wow, you're an author now. That's what I thought when people talked. And then I realized you can be an author too. You have a story. We all have a story. How do we bring it to fruition? And that's by trusting the professionals, but
Mhm.
also disciplining ourselves for that learning curve.
And that's what I like to tell people all the time, and I mention this every week. Every single one of us has a story, and it needs to be told because there's somebody out there that needs to hear that story. You know,
Right,
mine is not for everyone, yours is not for everyone, but somebody has a story that some individual needs very much to hear in their life to help them. And
right,
you know, I believe very strongly that the things we go through is to help make us stronger so that we can help others. And I know
right.
sometimes they go, well, why do I have to go through all of this? Why do I have to experience this?
Oh, I have a good one on that, Luana.
Well,
I,
let's hear it.
I worked for a physician in a small town. I hadn't done medical assisting for 10 years. I worked for a private physician, and I found myself in a situation that would have been handled totally differently had I been the person that worked there all those years.
Mhm.
So It's a long story that I'll make really short. I filled in a position as reception while another lady left because she got married. During that time, there was a client who needed help. I should say a patient. And the way I responded, because I didn't know her at all, was to save her life. And she wrote a letter later, months later, that she doesn't even know how this happened, that someone knew what was going on because she got the call. And so I won't get into a lot of detail, but she was thanking the doctor for whoever saving her life. And years later, I thought, man, when that medical assistant came back as a receptionist and took the job back, and it was like his daughter, then I realized I was there for a certain purpose. And one day, like a epiphany of thought, God gave me that thought of, you were there for a reason and a purpose. And now I trust that so much more, and everything is perfect in its timing. We all have stories. We have many stories. What stories to write at the right time? Listen, and divine timing will tell you what to share and when to share. And that's, I'm learning a lot about that.
You were there for that individual, that
Absolutely.
that one individual who really needed you, and you had what she needed. So, you know, and I really do believe in that. I don't mean to get off into other things because I enjoy this type of conversation, to be perfectly truthful, because I personally have experienced so many times situations like you're talking about.
Right.
You know, and I remember it was a few weeks after my son had passed, and I had been invited to go to this meeting. I really didn't want to go. I was not in the best frame of mind, my way of thinking, to go to that meeting. But I went anyway.
Yay.
And met a woman who had just lost her daughter, and she was devastated, and she needed to talk to someone. And we talked, and at the end, she just said, you know, I wasn't coming today, but something told me to come. And now I know why, because I needed to talk with you. You know, so things like that happen all the time. But we don't always
That's an important thing to. That's right. And that's an important thing to share, because when you go to meetings or you go somewhere, sometimes it's all about image and look and the way people see you. And when I go to meetings, because of the type of work that I do, it's often what I want to embody and encompass is the way I feel, not the way I should look in other people's eyes. So you showing up to that meeting exactly when you felt that prompting and you honoring yourself is just exactly as important as you saying, you know what, today I'm not feeling it. And as an empath, you don't make yourself go to those situations. But when you show up and divine timing happens, you realize there's a reason and a purpose for everything you're doing. And if it's for you, it will happen. And if it's not, it won't happen until you're ready.
Well, I know that this is the sort of thing that happens with you quite a bit, because we have discussed some situations that have come up for both of us, and there have been times when you called and you would say, you know, I felt directed that I needed to call you, and it was always seemed like it was perfect timing.
Like today, we talked for an hour. It's put on your heart. It comes.
So you know, hey, here you are today. Perfect timing.
And you know why I love that, Luana, is because even if you can't call the person, even if you can't tell them, you can send them unconditional love. And at that moment, they might call you. They're going to feel it. Or later, they're going to know that you were wishing them well, that you were hoping the best for them. And you're ready when they have time to talk. It's perfect. We have a lot of busy things going in our lives. But it shows up when it's supposed to.
Well, again, this is something that I could really get off into. We're supposed to be talking about your book.
Well, we could talk for hours when you're
friends. Oh my gosh, yes,
yeah, mutual respect, you can do
that. So, and you told us about how you found it difficult, and you had to piece it, do these little steps, incremental steps, so that you could get it finished. What are some advice that you would have for someone else who's out there thinking about, I want to write a book, but I don't know what to do?
Well,
there's for that person.
there's a funny saying, and I'm sure I'm showing my age with my purple eyeshadow and all of those things anyway, but there's a saying from a show, you do you, boo boo. And so I don't really say that except to my girlfriends that understand what I mean and that I'm not referencing that. But what you feel, what you think, what your natural gifts are, go with those. Seek professionals for the areas you have help with. Take it in small bites. Like, how do you eat an elephant, which is mortifying, but the point of the the quote is, take it in steps, and allow yourself the learning curve and laugh at yourself. Oh my goodness, there's so much. Sometimes I marvel and I walk away and I crack up laughing, and I wish I could be that free when I'm trying to share or speak, because I get so nervous, I'm distracted. But when I'm in my natural element and you feel brilliant, so much light and information comes out of you. So you surround yourself with those people that are your tribe, or those people that support you, because even your friends and family and loved ones have the best well intentions, but they don't always deliver the way you best receive. And I can help so many people, but when it comes to myself or my family or my friends, sometimes we're limited, but that's because they know you a certain way. So don't let anything hold you back. Start doing it. And
Wow,
like, I'm clearer in the morning, so that's when I write and look at it with fresh eyes, I call it.
that's fabulous. That would have been my next question. When do you decide you're going to sit down and write? How much time do you
What
devote
can
to
say?
writing when you do?
Huh?
How,
Say that
how,
one
mu-
more
how much time do you devote to writing? Do you maybe spend 10 minutes, a half an hour?
I haven't been as disciplined because honestly, with the COVID and the closures, there's so much mentally we're going through and that's thrown at us each day just to survive, or our businesses and things like that. So when I have the time, or when I set aside the time, I do it, like I said, in small bites. If I make it work, I'm not going to enjoy it. I'm not going to do it. So the comical part is, I first rough drafted a book, which I will probably write later, that
Mm-hmm.
was a simple book. I was driving down the street in downtown Sacramento, and I saw this huge palm tree, and there was honeysuckle wrapped all around it. And I thought, oh, I'm going to write a children's book called The World's Tallest Honeysuckle. So I started looking up honeysuckles. I started all this wonderful stuff because I knew that might be simple and I could do that, right? This
Mm-hmm.
honeysuckle, the one I had a ring around the tree cut into it because it had been cut down probably in prior years. So how high can you grow? It depends on your limits. And this is what that embodied to me. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, that's where I started. And then I told my mentor that's helping me now, who has written 9 books, and she said, well, children's stories are the hardest to write. So I have that rough draft scratch paper written out, but that's going to be after I do what really is my calling and purpose, and that is this book. So that was like a doorstep, and now I'm brought into the house.
Exactly. Well, at least you got a draft, so you can't say, well, I forgot what I was going to write about when you get ready
I'm
to
so glad
finish
when I found
the
it.
book. And, I'm just in awe of the fact that you actually took the time to write this book, because, when you think about massage therapy, well, what can you really say? But you managed to put this information in the book. So you mentioned about business as well. And I know that you have a new office. You're going to
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about where you're at now and what's going on with your new business.
Well, I'm so excited. I have a new office location. I haven't had one appointment in there yet because we still are currently closed. The good news is they're allowing indoor massage now with a doctor's note or referral. So another epiphany of thought is reach out to your colleagues. I have one chiropractor now that is a colleague of mine that's gotten back to me, is willing to do referrals. But this new office location is going to allow me the opportunity to do indoor and outdoor events. It's a beautiful office where I can do healing therapies like meditation, theta healing, Reiki, massage therapy. A lot of my work is medically focused, but I also want to teach how-to classes. I want to do guided comfort care for people who have loved ones. I want to do guided couples massage for one another to care for each other. And this location has a conference room that will allow me that. So I'm really excited about it. It's right by right by Sunrise Mosque.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So it's in the Citrus Heights area.
Yeah, it's at 7921 Kingswood Drive, Suite A5C. But I will only be there by appointment in advance. So I'm happy to show you.
Great, great. Well, hopefully the COVID won't last too much longer. Although I've been hearing some rumors that we could go into March or April of next year. I
Yeah.
hope that we don't, but you know, we all do what we have to do. And the wonderful thing with technology today is that we don't have to sit at home twiddling our fingers trying to figure out what can I do. People have just become so creative.
That's right. You know, I love to create. We've done dream catchers. We've done vision boards. You came to my retreat the 2 years that I had it. It was wonderful. This time has allowed me to realize we do have to make some transitional shifts. People can call me for phone services, for theta healing, meditation, for Reiki. But a lot of my clients come to me when their back is out and they want me to help fix them. So this COVID stay in time has actually required that we look better at our self-care and how we can layer those modalities and things like that to help make a difference for us. So it's perfect time for me to get this book out. It's a perfect time for me to discipline myself to hone in on what it really needs to say. And just one thing on that real quick is the reason I want to share this is what you're saying, all this knowledge is I learned about the meridian lines with shiatsu. I learned about stretches with Thai. I learned about the chakra systems. I learned about in CNA, the circulatory systems, the respiratory, the all these different body systems. And that's why now I want to show other people, because this book tells you what to research, and what you choose to find or what's for you may be different than for others. So this is perfect.
And do you have some of all of this information in your book for those of us who will not remember?
Yes, I'm on Kindle right now, and I chose to honor two of my clients in my book's title, Surely We Can Do More, and I will be perfecting that so that it's ready for print soon. I spoke with my mentor today, and I'm going to hold myself to it. And you hold me accountable too, Luana. You got to check on me.
We'll do that. In fact, I'm thinking, not that I'm thinking, I'm trying to figure out what's my next subject to write about. And so
showing up.
I need
Luana,
to be
you
held accountable as well.
right. But remember my retreat when you showed up and you wore your shorts and you posted that picture, and then I gave you that little keepsake. What was it called?
I still have that too.
Yes,
I have it in a very prominent place in my front room, but I think
That's
maybe
right.
I should bring it into my new office.
But what you said to me was, take my picture because nobody's going to believe I'm here. And that's how I felt on that cruise. So keep showing up. And I think that's what it should be about, because each person for themselves needs to be present and show up at the right time.
Yeah, there was actually two reasons I wanted that picture taken. One was because I'm out here in the woods where the only restroom is what I call an outhouse. Okay. Yeah. My God, they smell awful. And the other was because I actually had some short pants on.
Yeah, you were
Nobody sees me in pants anymore.
You were showing your legs, and after that, my creative mind started building a porta potty. I'm like, okay, a Home Depot bucket, a fanoodle, a bag, a cover. And I know that sounds crazy because you think you buy one, but that's how my mind works. It sparks all these little firings, and then I have to follow through on whatever the creative process is.
Well, if you ever do that again, make sure you let me know. I did have a great time, despite the fact that the outhouse is something else. But I came prepared the second time.
That's right. And you went to Jackson, and you went to the bed and breakfast, which was beautiful. So if I find a location where we can be glamping, it's perfect for you, glamorous camping.
Oh, wow, that was a great time. So, is there anything that you'd like to share with our audience before we call the show quits for the day?
Yes, I'm happy to help. I'm ready to help. I have my preparations in place in my office location. I have the no contact thermometer. I have gloves. I was in the medical field for many years. I really feel massage therapy is essential,
Mhm.
especially in this touch deprived world. Excuse me. And right now during the COVID, mental health is so, so crucial. So thank
Mhm.
you for the honor and the support of showing up. I'm happy that there was a cancellation or divine timing to make a way for this, but people can reach me at 916 807 5124. I have a new website being built currently, but my website at this time is www.tmcboggs.abmp.com. And I'm happy to help.
Great. And I'm going to ask you to send me that information, okay? So I can put it with the
Absolutely.
video when I post it. And that way
Okay.
people can get in touch with you along with the address of where your business is.
Okay, perfect.
So people can reach out to you because it's been quite a while since I've had a massage. Maybe I should get one myself.
That reminds me of when we went to the Asha bathhouse together, and you said you hadn't been in a swimsuit for how long, and you loved it, and you
I
floated,
was a
and your skin
teenager the
felt
last
good.
time I had a swimsuit on.
But
And
you
I didn't
felt
have one
home.
on there. I had shorts on.
I know they were mine because you tried to get out of it. And I said, no, these shorts are good for you. But wanted to see you and have the honor of holding you in support, even though it was only 3 feet deep. You and you said your skin felt so good. And that was
Oh
a
my
gift
God, for
because you
days.
put me on my retreat. So it was perfect. And I'm so glad we get those moments together.
Yeah, for days it felt totally like a new person, new skin on my body.
And
So I
that's the
enjoyed that
gift.
very much.
And that's
So,
the gift I get when I get to see someone life changed like that. Pillars
mhm.
in the community and divine timing.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you for stepping up today. We certainly have enjoyed having you on the show today. And that is our show for the day, ladies and gentlemen. We hope that you enjoyed us again. And will join us next week when our guest will be author Fox Beyer, who has written a motivational book that's a little bit different from regular motivational books. So if you want to find out how different, you're going to have to tune in next week to find out what it is he did with his book. I think you'll love it. Remember to be, if you want to be a part of our show, or if you have some questions or suggestions, because we're always looking to grow, you can reach me at 916-698-0839, or you can email me at lwrepark@gmail.com. The success of our show depends on your liking and sharing it with your family and friends, and so we hope that you are doing that. And I want to invite you to check out my blog at www.lawanasblog.com. And you can see all of the past videos of this show over on YouTube at Lawana's Parker channel. So if you missed one and you want to go back and catch up on something, check it out over there. We'd love to have you take a look. And so until next time, please remember to stay safe and keep the faith. And I'll see you next week. Thank you again, Christina, for joining us. I look forward to you coming back on the show when you've gotten that book published.
Thank you.
Thank you.